official podcast, now recording.
Hello, Mr. Lizard.
Good day, Foxy.
Hello.
How be things?
I was going to say hello to people in the live show, but...
Oh, okay. Well, say hi, people in the live show. Where are they at?
Hello,
not sure where they
people, Slack, and hello, people in the live show. Jeez. And hello, and welcome back to the Block Update podcast with a shiny new logo, Slack.
I know which way I'm pointing. That way.
It's still the MinecraftUpdate.com website. I haven't done that yet. But let's not get ahead of ourselves, eh? One step at a time.
Nice, slow, gradual changes. Yeah. So don't confuse the people.
Exactly. Before we start the show, as I always like to mention, we are supported by Patreon. It says on my notes, the Minecraft Update podcast, whoever they are, but the Block Update podcast, a Minecraft podcast, is supported by Patreon, and we now have 36 wonderful people who have joined patreon.com/the Minecraft Update to support the show. The prices are per podcast, and the minimum perks you'll get for donating at any level is access to our patron-only feed. Oh, jeez. This is going to be one of those days, like.
It's going to be one of those days, Foxy. You're struggling with words. It's okay.
Access to our patron-only feed for bonus content when we record it, access to the patron-only Discord channels, and a Discord role. And speaking of bonus content, Slack and I have just been talking about Star Wars, swimming pools, weddings, and windows. And if you want to hear all about my 2-day struggle with reinstalling Windows twice, then yeah, you're going to have to check it out on the old patron bonus show, mate. There's you can't have it for nothing, mate. Unless you turn up to the live show.
Much you had to do it again. Yeah. Well, that is a fair point.
Yeah, but you'd have to join the Discord for that. We know how people feel about joining the Discord. It's like pulling teeth. It's
a real pain. Oh, it's like trying to get people to upvote bugs on the Jira. It's almost impossible.
It is. It's funny, because obviously Discord is a big part of our lives. And I don't know how I would live without Discord anymore. But I think for a lot of people, they're just like, what's Discord?
Yep.
And why do I want to join a gaming chat thing? And it's not that for me. I don't use it. Well, I suppose we do Minecraft, so it is gaming. But I was going to say, I don't use it it's not a forum where I'm chatting about games and, it's just where my friends are. It's where my colleagues are. It's just a ridiculously easy way to keep in touch with people without, all of these messengers and WhatsApps and emails and stuff. It's just a really nice, easy way to, see where everyone is and see what they're up to. So, is it Facebook, is it? No. No.
Is it like AOL chat rooms?
Yes. No, it isn't.
Is it like MSN Messenger?
I mean, it can be.
Is it like ICQ?
It's a little bit less seedy than ICQ and MSN Messenger. But,
it's like all the best parts of all those combined.
Yeah, it is. So, if you haven't already joined the Discord, then what are you doing? Join the Discord.
Exactly.
Well, Slack, we obviously had a wonderful show last week. I'm excited to find out what people thought of it. Have you got any thoughts on what people might have thought about last week's podcast?
People have thoughts about our podcast. Usually feedback is just something random.
It is something random normally, yeah. If you've got thoughts on this week's podcast, then you can let us know by emailing us at news@theminecraftupdate.com, fill it in the feedback form on the website, or join in the Discord. And we're going to start with Stitch Fix. Oh, no.
Oh, no, that's a book. Good luck. Have fun. You got this.
Foxy, how's your day? First of all, I must address Slack's slump. You need to sit up straight, bud. I didn't want to say anything, but come on. It's not good feedback.
I'm comfortable. Okay. I'm comfortable. Thanks.
As Minecraft players, we all have unfinished projects. I feel if you're not invested in your current project, start over. I mean, after all, you're not alone. So many people start a new world for that reason. Maybe you could make a good deal out of it. Like, okay, I've fallen off this idea. Maybe give advice as to how to, quote unquote, finish it. Or yet, even better, make a ruin out of it and start over. Foxy, I'm very sorry about your family issues. As adults, we all have them. I don't think you do. Don't yell at me, lol. It just brings me sadness when you're having a hard time. I know it's your job. I totally get it. You're both like to come up with your own things. I don't watch a ton of different creators, and I haven't seen much on Skulk. So many people had big talk about all the cool things you could do with it when it comes out. Would love to see here the actual possibilities now that it's here. New farms, much love Stitch Fix. Yeah, my family issues, it's not your run-of-the-mill, like, oh, you know, everyone's just having a tough time, we're a bit stressed out, money's tight, that sort of thing. It's a much bigger thing than that, but I'm not going to go into it. As for Skulk, yeah, it's an XP storage system, but there's not really any reason to or fun way of dealing with it, so I don't think anyone really cares.
Yeah. Yeah, it's one of those things that, hey, it's here. Hey, it does have its purposes. I like to use it in farms to not let the XP build up. But other than that, it's just no love for it. No love. It's in the cities. I don't like the cities. It's too dark. No.
I remember when 119 was pretty much at the stage we're at now with 120, not quite released. And Mumbo put out this farm that would auto-generate. It was basically a big old stone generator in a mob farm, and the mobs would drop and it would turn all the stone into Skulk. And it was a nice idea, but the problem is people keep asking, can we store our XP in something? Can we do that? Well, yes, you can, but it takes up a lot of space and it takes ages to mine it, and it doesn't hold enough to really make it worthwhile. So you might as well just stand there next to the farm that you've got to AFK at anyway to generate all that Skulk and just get the XP. So, it's just it's a bit of a nice idea, but not really much point in it.
Yeah.
Oh, well.
Yeah.
Who's next, Slack?
It is what it is. Whitebush. And they say, congratulations on joining a Fatherhood Slack. Sad I wasn't able to make the live recording and see Isaac, but glad all is going well. P.S. All three of mine slept through the night from day one, so don't let anyone say that can't happen. Hope the same for you and Jen.
Can't happen.
He's been amazing.
Impossible.
He has. Aside from the first couple of days, he's amazing. He doesn't really fuss. He sleeps when he needs to. He's actually gotten where he's letting us sleep some through the night now.
Wow.
He's been amazing. Yeah, I heard it was a complete nightmare, but it's stressful at times, but not as bad as I thought it was going to be. Yeah.
No, I got to admit, Oliver was a pretty good sleeper. He is now. He sleeps. He will sleep for 13 hours a night, which is crazy now. Obviously, he's 8 years old, but he's been like that forever, as long as I can remember. And I don't remember him being particularly difficult as a baby. He would often wake up at about 6:30 in the morning, which is really not that early by all things when you've got babies. Then he would go to bed, would probably put him down 7 or 8 o'clock at night and not hear a peep. So, yeah, it can happen. But it's the in-between times when they're awake that just zaps you.
Oh, you mean the time like when they scream, you change them, you move 3 feet, they scream again, and it's time to change them again. You change them, and then you don't even get them off the table, and it's time to change them again.
Yeah.
You mean those times?
Yeah. And I don't know if you've had this yet, but you probably will have it at some point. It'll pick its favorite, and Isaac will pick his favorite. and then, like, I can't remember if it was Jack or Oliver we had this with, but basically, once he was on someone, that was it. He couldn't go anywhere. Even if he was asleep, it would be scream, and it had to be that person. And that's I've seen that a few times with people, and it's easy enough to deal with because you just got to get them in the habit of not just being on you all the time. And I think that was my problem, is I just wanted him on me all the time because it was so nice. But don't do that. It's okay. I don't mind. Yeah. I'm full of energy. The baby can sleep on me. It's really nice. I'm getting some really nice one-on-one time with it. 2 weeks later, he won't. I can't put him down. He screams. He just has to be on me. Why does he have to be on me? Jeez. Stupid babies.
Oh, God. Oh, that doesn't sound like somebody I know right now at all.
Okay, Whitebush, anyway, is back again with pipes. 1,000,000% yes to pipes. I used to use the Buildcraft mod before MCPE existed and was an expert with Applied Energistics 1 and 2 and thermal expansion, being a terrible builder, but a darn good engineer. Nothing would capture my interest more than adding similar pipes to the game. Since sticking with my Bedrock realm, I miss my pipes. Yeah, I gotta say, as much as there's redstone in the game, I've obviously had many years of engineering background. I would love more engineering-y stuff in the game. Like, I like the idea of the create mod, but that just seems too not Minecrafty for me. I'd love it if there was something in the game that was a little bit more in depth, that took that engineering to the next level. So I think pipes is a good start.
Yeah, that could be. Could be.
Yeah.
I've never really done too much modded. When we did the modded TB series there, I was all for it for about 30 minutes, and then it was just like, nope, this is too much. This is way too much, and it just nope.
You've got to pick a lane. When you got a mod pack like that, you've got to pick a lane. If you just try and look at the whole thing, you will just explode. So you go, okay, that's the part of this mod pack I'm going to look at. And it takes you forever to get going. But once you get going, you're like, what do I do with all this stuff? I've got so much stuff. I don't know. I'm just pouring all these blocks, and then you go, well, I need a bigger storage system. Oh, well, there's this computer little chip thing here that I can put 4 million items in and then get it wirelessly from here. And, and it just sort of expands from there. But if you go into it going, I want to do all of these different things, then you'll just cry.
Yeah, that's pretty much describes what happened. Yep.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. Lansky's up next. It says, when you guys was talking about adding pipes in the game in a good idea bin, you guys was wondering why chests do cause lags. Chests cause lag because it is all the time verifying if there is a solid block over it that would disturb it opening.
That makes sense, because barrels don't cause lag. Barrels don't care if there's a block above them, whereas chests do. So yeah, rather like a hopper, the chest is always looking to see if there's something above it, to see if it can open or not. So that makes sense. Thank you very much, Landscape.
Well, I'd be interested in testing that. What if you put down like 200 chests in an area, seeing what your FPS was, and then put 200 chests in another area with blocks over it, blocking it? Would there be less lag?
Oh, interesting. Probably not, because it still have to check whether the blocks had gone. But it's
just an interesting thought.
Yeah, definitely. Okay. Stitch Fix is back, Slack, with another book.
Oh, let me get this chair recline. Hold on.
This was actually in the wish list chat, but it's feedback, so I put it in feedback.
Okay.
The drafting table idea. It's so hard to find and come up with patterns for banners. It's so complicated. There are so many dies and there are so many steps. I understand the complications with drawing, but it would make things so much easier. We need more banner patterns then. Also, you said maybe you could go through the good ideas and make some of them. Yes, please. Sorry for shouting. You could go through them, dull down the list, the ones that you could possibly do, and get the Discord peeps to vote. Encourages the involvement in Discord and gives the rabid Foxy a rabbit hole to chance. Wishlist, add-on, not sure. Can we get a creating recipe add-on to get your head avatar on the servers? Possibly Slack Gen other TV members. What? I don't understand that last bit. Can we get a
crafting recipe to add our heads onto other servers?
Well, I already got player heads add-on.
Yeah, but they want a crafting recipe for it.
Oh, tough. No. In terms of the banner patterns, if you took out like banner patterns is its own art. A lot of people come up with some incredible banner patterns that you can find online that you'd never expect to be able to just build from what you've got at the loom and the dies. And I've seen some crazy stuff that people have made. And I think if you took that out of the game and went, instead you just can draw what you want, that would A, upset a lot of people, and B, it takes away a whole aspect of the game that a lot of people find really good fun. You might as well say, well, let's just get rid of all the redstone components and just have a button that you press and it does what you want it to do. No. If you can't do it, look online and get someone else's thing and just copy that. You don't have to come up with your own ones.
Yeah.
Jeez.
No.
Stop it, Stitch Fix. As for the add-ons thing, I mean, I could do it as a a vote. These are the ones that I'm thinking of doing. But is there any point in a vote if I was just going to do them anyway?
No.
So a little bit more thought on that one. I don't really know. I'm assuming you think that, I'm just going to maybe make one, but my thoughts were, I might not even do it, but my thoughts were, if I was going to do that, I would go down the list, see what was possible, and then just one by one see if I could make them. Took my point out of it completely, says Stitch Fix. Well, you should explain better in your words.
Yeah, bad Stitch Fix. Bad.
We can only read what you write. If you have different meaning, then you need to enunciate that with your words in your text, which is difficult to do.
Yeah. Well, then you complain I wrote a book, but you didn't even get the point across in your book.
Stitch Fix. Jeez.
It's never ending, right?
Right. Okay. Next.
Irish Viking. Irish Viking said, I'm glad you have been able to find something to help you with your mental health in Zelda. Mental health is very important. I totally get the writer's block thing and life causing it. Keep your mental health foremost in your mind, and fans will be there for you. Also, I didn't realize there were cherry blossom trees with orange leaves. Our cherry trees here in the Pacific Northwest have pink blossom with green leaves. The Minecraft ones resemble ours really well then.
Ah, okay. So there are multiple cherry blossom tree variants, which is, like most plants, there's loads of different varieties, so that makes sense. But then I haven't been there. My ones are orange. That's what I mean. That's fine. But if you look at a cherry blossom tree, maybe again the ones in the Pacific Northwest are different, but the ones here, you've got leaves and then you've got flowers. You get these big bunchy bits of flowers and then there's like leaves sporadically throughout the tree. They're not together. So in Minecraft, you've got the cherry blossom leaf blocks, which are mostly flowers with some leaves poking through. I just don't want the leaf bits in it. I don't need the green. I think the green it just doesn't look right to me. It doesn't want to be there. And I just thought, well, if the leaves have to be there, I'd rather they were the orange ones because they would actually go with the pink. Anyway, Kev Treff Tuv 11 says, love the honesty. I think a lot of us are in the same boat, which is why Hightail is going to reignite our flames. I'm thinking it will make us feel the way we used to about Minecraft. Hightail, that game that never it's been coming forever.
No.
Do you know what?
Yeah,
if Hightail can be even half of what Zelda is, then that actually might make me want to play it. But from everything I've seen and everything I've looked at, I probably will play it, but I'm not really excited about it at all.
You're not expecting much. Yeah.
No, and I'd be, at this point, amazed if it even turns up, to be honest with you.
2031. Hightail releases next year. Don't know about that. Right. Next up, we have Creeper and says, hello, Slack, Foxy, and other Minecraft enthusiasts that may have found along the way. I completely agree with your talk about Zelda Tears of the Kingdom from last week's show. I am in love with it, and somehow I've already racked up 40 plus hours. Thanks, Creeper.
Yeah, it's just, it's impossible. There's nothing in it I dislike. Sometimes the character, it's Nintendo, but sometimes they talk a bit, but you can skip through the dialogue really easily, and most of them don't. It's just, it's wonderful. I shouldn't refer to the Discord chat while we're doing this, but Stitch Fix is on it again, saying, voting gives more reason to bring activity and more reason to join Discord. Also lets you know which ones people want the most. But we know Foxy wants to do the ones he wants to first. I just assumed I would go in order. I would look at the list and go, that one first, or that one's easy, I'll do that one. I'm not saying a vote is a bad idea, Stitch Fix, at all. I'm saying if a vote for the sake of having a vote doesn't seem like there's much point to it. If there was something that was like a question I didn't know what to do, then bringing it to the Discord and driving engagement would be great. But to shoehorn it in for that particular purpose where I didn't see there was a necessity for it. Just seems. I mean, it's not. But I would happily do a vote on it and see what people want me to do first. I'm just saying, it's like I can't think of a metaphor for it, but I just, you know what I mean? Slack doing something for the sake of doing something when it's just not necessary.
Yeah, you want to do something when you want to do it. Yeah.
Well, no, not even that. It's not like I'm saying, oh, I know there's a specific order that I want to do these things in, or I don't want to have a vote on it. I just want to be able to do it when I want to do it. I'm just saying that yeah, I don't know. It just seems it's not a necessary thing to do. Do you know what I mean? I sound like I'm being mean. I'm not trying to be mean. I'm just trying to explain.
I get it. I don't know how to explain it, but I get it. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
anyway.
My answer to that usually is, my name is Slack Lizard. You don't tell me what to do. Usually that's my answer.
I'm more than happy to have a vote on it. I just, when I was thinking about it, I just thought I would go through and just do them one by one. It didn't occur to me to that it needed like, oh, which one should I do? Maybe I should ask everybody. That's just not how my process went. So yeah, anyway. Last piece of feedback is from DJ Grizz 2019 saying, Foxy, how's your day? Slack, how was yours? Loved the last podcast, 10 out of 10. Thank you, tech support. I don't know. Thank you very much, Chris. I'm glad you love the podcast, and I love feedback that tells us how much you people love the podcast. I'm slightly confused on the tech support thing, but that's probably my memory playing up rather than bad feedback.
My memory is like, I don't remember tech support neither.
I know we've talked about Asus and Samsung and stuff like that lately. Maybe it's referring to that. I don't know. Jeez. Okay, that is the end of the feedback again. If you want to leave us feedback, if you want to write a book and then not actually get what you wanted to say in the book that you've written and then complain about it in the live show afterwards, you can do by emailing us at news@theminecraftupdate.com, filling in the feedback form on the website, or joining our Discord. All the links to those are in the description below. It's time for the news, and the big piece of news is that the 1.20 release date was finally announced for June the 7th. Are you excited, Slack? What do you mean you already knew it was going to be June the 7th? What?
Yeah, totally excited. Didn't know it was going to be June the 7th.
No, me neither.
I had no clue.
I didn't have a Scooby, Slack. It was news to me.
No. Yep, total news to me, 100%. Yep. Yeah. Yeah, super, yeah.
To be fair, before I didn't know that I knew, when I was guessing, I was right, because I was guessing end of May, beginning of June, so I was right. Yep. But then when I didn't know that I knew that I know that I didn't know, then I didn't need to guess anymore, because I didn't know that I knew.
That you didn't know that you knew. That you knew.
Yes.
That you didn't
exactly.
know.
So yeah, it's literally a week today, which makes me think that next week, as much as I like to do these on a Wednesday, it might be worth our while doing the podcast next Thursday instead, because A, everybody's going to be playing Minecraft and not being here for the podcast, and B, imagine all of the bugs we're going to have to talk about, Slack. Do you really want wait another week to be the first in with all of those amazing bugs? Don't you want to get that download and just jump straight into 120 on Wednesday?
You act like we have time to do that on Wednesday. What? Huh?
Well,
don't they know we have lives?
It will drop probably about an hour and a half, maybe. What is it? It's normally like 5 p.m. British summertime, isn't it? So it'll be like 2.5 hours before the podcast starts, which means it's half an hour before I have to start doing all the docs and things. So, I just thought doing it the day after, we'd have more opportunity to actually get a little bit of feedback from people playing the update. So what do you think? No pressure.
Yeah, that sounds fine. Yeah.
Okay, right, okay. Now, we have 4 changelogs this week, peeps. 4. Can you believe it? 4 crazy changelogs. And we're starting with Minecraft Java Edition 1.20 pre-release 6, which, excuse me, has absolutely nothing in it, really. Do you remember last week when we talked about the changelogs and they said, The item Minecraft Air can now be used in datapack recipes apart from anything that uses recipes. Well, it can't be used in datapack recipes anymore. They've took that away from us, Slack.
It didn't really do nothing to begin with, but okay.
Because you couldn't use it in any of the recipes. So, yeah. There's some other things. The other thing of note is that they made a big hoo-ha recently about randomizing or not randomizing, making the random loot deterministic based on the world seed. So it would be good for speedrunners and things like that. And for some reason, a bunch of players have got a little bit uppity about that. I don't know why, because it really doesn't affect anything. It makes everything exactly the same. It just makes it more consistent when you're doing the same things on the same world. But because of all of the uppityness, Mojang have gone, okay, we'll make it optional. So you can have it totally random as it was before, or you can have it like useful. So, yeah, that's good. There's a couple of bug fixes in there, and that's about it. It says resummoned dragons don't spawn in gateways when exiting the world before killing the dragon. So that's been fixed. And that's good. So yeah, Java Edition pre-release 6
on transparent blocks. I don't like that.
No, that's the bug. Remember with Java Edition, that's the bug, and that means it's been fixed. Whereas on Bedrock Edition changelogs, it tells you what's been fixed rather than telling you the bug.
Okay.
Yeah. So it's the opposite way round, because of course it is. It makes perfect sense that way.
Because they're opposite versions of the game. Yep, that makes sense. Yeah. Okay. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So basically, that's that one done, which takes us on to Minecraft Java Edition 1.20 pre-release 7, which looks like it's got a lot of stuff in here. And now I noticed Izuma had done a video on this, but I read through it and it really doesn't make any sense at all to me. It's something to do with symbolic links, which I know what they are. Symbolic links on a PC is where you can have basically a folder or a file appearing to be in one place, but it's actually linked to something that's somewhere else. So let's say it's kind of like a shortcut, but it's not really a shortcut. So it is the file, but it's appearing in a different place. And there's something to do with making those configurable in Java Edition, which is nice.
Okay.
And that's about it for that one. So that's good. Minecraft Java Edition 1.20 release candidate 1 has come out. So we're now gone from pre-releases to release candidates. That it must be round the corner, Slack. When will it be?
Has to be within a week or so, right?
Knowledge books can't be placed in chiseled bookshelves. So in Java Edition, you get knowledge books. Don't get that in Bedrock Edition. That's basically an advancements thing, isn't it? Or is it the recipe thing? Is it recipes? The knowledge book?
I think no clue what a knowledge book is.
Yeah, in Java Edition, when you start a new world, you don't have all the recipes to hand, do you? You have to learn them by picking up blocks, and it says, you can make these things with that. And I believe you can give a player a knowledge book, and it will just basically
say that advancement or whatever.
Yeah, well, it will give you all of the recipes without having to actually learn them. So and then the pitcher plant breaks and floats without growing without enough light. So they fix that as well, and that's it. So Java Edition, really not many changes at all. And then we've got something interesting, Slack, for Bedrock Edition. Not something I expected, but it can only mean that Bedrock Edition is finished, because we've actually got a Minecraft beta and preview 1.20.10.20, which you might notice is 1.20.10, which will be the first hotfix for 1.20. Yep. Now, the reason Bedrock Edition will jump straight into developing the hotfix at this stage is with Java Edition, they can develop something in the game and they can literally push it out the next day, because all they got to do is upload the finished files to a server and then you download it through the launcher. Whereas with Bedrock Edition, when they finished developing a particular version, they then have to send that to all of the game stores. So the Apple Store, Android, the Play Store, Xbox Store, all of those. And they've all got their own little rules, and they've all got to be, every single time they do it, the people at those stores have got to go through it, make sure it's all right, make sure it doesn't have loads of crashing issues, and make sure this, that. And basically it's a quality check, which doesn't mean it good, they can put it up without bugs, but it makes sure it's not awful. And if it doesn't pass that quality check, then they don't get to put it up. So it can take sometimes a week just to even know that that update is going to be available to put live. And then once all of the stores have certified it's okay, then they can basically say, okay, now that they've done that, we can put a release date on this for all of those and make sure they go out at the same time. So they would have had to put up Bedrock's thing. Now, if they knew the release date was going to be June the 7th, which they would have done because pre-planning on all that, they probably pushed out the last 1.20 as soon as they finished that last beta. So what, like 2 weeks ago?
Yeah.
And then just prayed that it got through the stores in time. See, sometimes we'll get a changelog and it'll say Minecraft 1.19.83 for Xbox, and they've only pushed it out for Xbox because it only needs to be for that, or 1.19.82 for everything, and then you get a tweet going, really sorry guys, but it's going to be delayed on iOS because for whatever reason it didn't pass certification on there and they had to resubmit it. So sometimes that happens, but you would really hope for 1.20 that done it. So I imagine they released the release date or announced the release date for 1.20 once they knew 100% it had passed through certification on all the app stores. Otherwise, they'd have been in a bit of bother. So yeah. Anyway, this has got some very, very interesting things in it, Slack, genuinely. And I know I'm quite sarcastic about changelogs, but there are some things in this Slack that are going to change things for Minecraft Bedrock Edition forever.
Okay, I'm listening.
Now, why they couldn't have done this for 1.20, I don't know, but they're going to, we're going to get 120, and then a week later, maybe 2 weeks later, it's normally a month, isn't it, the hot fixes, or the minor updates, it's going to be all new. So, Java Edition crawl when you go in a one block gap? Short sneaking? Yep. It's in the game. Yep. It's behind a experimental toggle, but they've added a whole new crawling player animation, so you won't look like you're swimming when you're in a one block gap. Players will now begin crawling when in a one block gap, similar to sneaking. So I'm assuming that's going to work with the trapdoor thing that they do on Java Edition, but I don't know. Players will automatically stand up or begin sneaking if they leave a one block gap. Crawling speed is the same as sneaking. Players will begin swimming if they enter water while crawling, or vice versa. The player's model is now centered around the hitbox when swimming. So that should mean that when you're doing underwater stuff, you're not just going to be jarring up and down a lot.
Yeah.
Players are no longer able to sneak while riding. Players will now always spawn projectiles from the camera position when sneaking, swimming, or gliding. Now that concerns me, especially with the new camera controls, because if you're in third person looking at the player and you fire an arrow, is it going to fire behind the player?
I don't know. I know it's kind of broke right now on Slackville because we're on the most current version. And if you throw anything out or shoot anything, it literally comes out the back of your head.
Yeah.
Which is very weird. I don't like it.
So you would think that they would adjust the projectile position to be in reference to the player's body, not the camera position. Because the camera in first person is in the camera's in the player's head. And with these new camera controls, or even just the vanilla like third person or third person facing backwards, they can be anywhere. So if you were using these new camera controls and you've got like a camera really high up in the sky looking down on your player and you fire a projectile, is it going to fire it from right up in the sky?
That's a good question. I don't know.
So that seems like a really odd one.
Yeah,
Players will now spawn particle effects when eating in the correct position if they're sneaking, swimming, or gliding. So that's good. Loyalty tridents will always return to the player's camera. Again, if you've got a third person camera on and you're looking behind your player, is your loyalty trident going to fly straight past you and over your head?
I don't know. That's going to be interesting. We'll find out.
Players will no longer suffocate when short sneaking in certain scenarios, and players will no longer suffocate when riding a camel in a 2-block gap, which is interesting because a camel is 2 blocks tall, and with the player on top, that's 3.5 blocks really. So they're saying if you're on a camel and you're basically in a wall, you're not going to suffocate. But when you're on a strider and you go under a 1-block gap, you suffocate.
Yeah.
So why have they done it with camels but not striders?
I don't know. And also, when you're inside of blocks, that allows for old X-ray glitches to come back.
It does. See, I had to, when I did our TB dolphins, when you ride the dolphin, I had to make it so that the dolphin's hitbox suddenly became 3 blocks tall when you're on the back, so that you can't like go up into the block above, as if because the player just doesn't count. The hitbox on the player no longer counts when you're riding something. So in order to make it so that you don't glitch into the blocks above, I had to extend the dolphin's hitbox. So if that works with dolphins, rather than them faffing about like that with other things, why don't they just do that with, like, when you get on a camel, the camel's hitbox change so that you can't go under a 2-block gap?
Because that seems too simple.
Yeah, it does, doesn't it?
Yeah.
They have fixed many interactions where being forced into sneaking acted the same as holding the sneak button. Which, oh, I see, right. So if you were forced sneaking because you were in a 1.5 block gap and you clicked on a chest, it wouldn't open the chest because it thinks you're trying to place a block against it.
Ah, okay. Okay, that makes sense.
That makes sense. I'm glad they fixed that then.
Yeah.
Okay. World generation, pointless talking about that because there's not much there. Farmer villagers. Now, this is interesting as well. Farmer villagers will now interact with torchflower seeds and pitcher pods. They can pick up the seeds and plant them, but they won't harvest the plants once they've grown. So, as far as we know at the moment, torch flowers and pitcher crops are just plants. They don't do anything other than be turned into dye. They don't have any effect in the game. But in history, villagers they will plant any seed, but all seeds are food. So have they gone for consistency here because the flowers and the pitcher crops come as a seed? Or is there more to the torch flower and the pitcher crop that we don't know about yet?
Have no clue on that one.
I assume it's seed consistency. But then also, if that's the case, why do they have seeds? Why don't they just drop a small version of themselves like other flowers do? Because then the sniffer wouldn't work, would it?
Interesting. Don't know.
Yeah. I think they've tied themselves up in knots with that one.
That literally contradicts itself. Yeah.
Back to the camera position. So when I've been making add-ons and mini-maps and stuff like that, one thing I've noticed is that if you go into... So even not for add-ons, it was kind of an add-on. It was a resource pack. I made a resource pack where the camera would be further away from the player when you were in third person. And I can't remember what I used that for, but it was really useful for something I was doing. But the problem was the audio that you would always come from where the camera was and not the player was. So if the camera was too far away, I could no longer hear anything the player was doing, which was really weird. And it says on here, camera position is now used for audio system listening and ambient sounds, which I thought it already was. It says previously the player position and rotation were sometimes used for audio listening. This effectively flips audio panning when using third-person front camera perspective. So it sounds like they've fixed that, but the fix that they've written sounds like it did exactly what we was already doing, which won't have fixed it.
No.
So as far as I'm concerned, the sound you hear in your earphones or in your speakers should be the sound that's being played at that player position.
Yes.
Another good example of this is when, let's say you're making an adventure map, right? And you're going to move the player from one place to another, but you want a sound to go. So like, let's say you've invented a new type of portal and you create a portal effect sound. If the player moves from where that sound is being played, it doesn't follow them. It doesn't stay with the player, even though you've told it to play the sound at that player. It plays it at that player's current location. So as soon as the player teleports away, the sound goes away. And it's very similar with the camera. If the camera's not near the player, you don't hear it because the sound's playing from the player. So I'm really hoping this will sort of fix those things, but I don't think it will. It sounds a bit not quite what I'm thinking of. Okay, right. They have... that's not really much use. That's really not much use. There was a bit that I wanted to see.
Did you see that one with blocks? That's a weird one. Shovels can no longer mine packed mud as fast as a pickaxe.
Yeah, well, packed mud's supposed to be harder to mine because it's packed, isn't it?
Right, the dried mud. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, do you know what? I've still never even done anything with pack mud in vanilla in Minecraft.
Very little, yeah.
There was something. Yeah, they've added a toggle to all platforms, enabling an extra large GUI scaling beyond what the GUI slider shows. So that could be interesting. I don't know why you'd need it. I suppose if you're playing on like a really big monitor or like a really high resolution, possibly.
Maybe.
There is some more important stuff coming. Trust me. Vanilla parity. Here we go. This whole section. Jeez. The top one's nonsense.
Mm-hmm.
The shovel.
No, I find that one useful.
Oh, really? Well, the items dropped by storage entities are now centered inside the nearest block.
Yeah, when you bust the chest and they go everywhere, I find that annoying.
I assumed when it said storage entities, it meant more like donkeys and camels.
Oh, I don't know.
Oh, no, camels don't have chests, do they? Well, maybe you might be right. If it is a chest and they actually just end up where the chest was, that'd be great. Because
if that's what it is, yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, the shovel slack has now been removed from the boat recipe in line with Java Edition. Not on the bamboo raft, because they haven't done that yet. But on everything else, the recipe no longer requires a shovel, which to me is actually good news, because it's such a pain having to craft a shovel just to make a boat.
It's annoying. It's very annoying, yep.
However, with good always comes bad. The barrel recipe has been modified to use planks instead of sticks. Why didn't they do that the other way round? What? So at the moment, barrel recipe, 3 sticks down the side, slab at the top, slab at the bottom. Barrel, right? Makes sense. But now, 3 planks down each side, slab at the top, slab at the bottom. So it's now 6 full plank blocks plus 2 slabs instead of 1.5 blocks worth of sticks.
That's expensive.
It's really expensive to suddenly make barrels. Yeah. Why? Why?
I don't know.
And another one, why? Why take this? What the harm was this doing to anybody? The cobweb to string recipe's been removed in line with parity. Why? Just do it. Just put it in the other one. Who cares?
Yeah.
No, you've got to place that cobweb and mine it with a sword if you want the string out of it. Why?
Oh, that's borked. That's borked. Yeah.
Good news then. They fixed a bug where zombie villagers did not drop a given item after being cured, so that is good news. And also in line with Java parity, wild horses, mules and donkeys can now be tempted using golden apples, carrots and enchanted apples. Llamas will be tempted by a player holding a hay bale. So we've got a little bit better of a way of getting those things to follow us around now, which is nice.
Okay.
Now, we've been moaning probably since about 1.17 when they first started talking about skulk sensors, how ineffective they were on Bedrock Edition compared to Java Edition in the terms of the number of vibrations that they could detect. And you might be able to see on the screen behind me, there are a whole bunch more things that now create vibrations. Every single one of those lines is a new thing that will create a vibration in the game. Now, I could read through all of them, but I'm not going to. But you can read this changelog. The link to it will be in the description below. But that's a lot of things that has been added. So that's nice that we're seeing these things being added in finally. I thought I thought it'd be like the villagers and the pillage thing. Oh, we've done villagers, that's it, done. No, they're nowhere near like they are on Java Edition still after all these years. Now we're finished with villagers. I thought we were going to have the same thing here. No, we've done skulk sensors. We're moving on. But they haven't. That's a lot of work they put in there. So good job, guys.
I mean, even from like dying sheep, that's nice.
Yeah. So that's really nice. And then there's a whole bunch of add-on-y stuff that excites me a little bit in lots of ways and also makes me very sad in others because I know I've got to change a bunch of stuff again. But yeah, if you're interested in the technical side of Minecraft and the add-ons and the resource packs and the editor and all that sort of stuff, then there's a whole bunch of things in there for you. Check out the changelog because it's all good, mate. And there we go. News done.
That's the news. Well,
yeah, 1 week. 1 week, and we already know what's coming after that, which kind of takes... I wish they hadn't done that, because it kind of takes the fluff off it, doesn't it? You know,
Now there's
release
nothing to
date,
talk about.
June the 7th. And then literally the next day they go, oh, yeah, we got the one after that sorted out now as well. No, don't tell me what we're going to get next. We haven't even got this one yet. I know it's not like new features for 1.21 or anything, but it's still... I want those things, but I'm going to have to wait even longer. Just let that one come out, give it a couple of weeks breathing space, and then put that out.
It'll be next day. There'll be some bug
Probably.
in it. Next day.
Jeez.
Oh, you thought you was going to experience this. Here you go. Yep. Mm-hmm.
Time to go to the Bugdate, Slack. Have you got any bugs?
No, that means I'd have to play a lot of Minecraft to have bugs. Nope.
No.
Oh.
Okay, well, we've only got one bug from the community this week as well, which is villagers despawn when breaking a boat in the nether. And this was provided by, whose name I've lost now, Swing Kid, who says villagers despawn when taking villagers out of a boat in the nether for Minecraft Bedrock Realms. And it says, when bringing a villager to the nether and placing a boat, when the player breaks a boat, the villager disappears completely. This is reproducible on my Minecraft realm over and over. Entering and exiting the nether doesn't change the behavior. It doesn't matter which villager I take out of the boat, the villager immediately disappears. Oof. Oof. I wonder how many times they did that before they thought, I'm wasting my time here.
That's rough. That's rough. That's bad.
Yeah. I didn't think we'd be getting many bugs at this point in the day, to be honest with you. With it being so close to the new update, I'm pretty sure most people are probably even just hanging off from playing Minecraft now until the update launches. So, which I don't blame you for. I would do the same thing.
Yeah.
In fact, they have been, but don't tell anyone.
I was about to say, haven't you been doing nothing but Zelda for like 2 weeks now?
And it will continue because I love it. Okay,
I think I can get a full 7-day series in before the week gets here, so we're good.
If you think that you've found a bug and you want to tell us about it, then please let us know by emailing us at news@theminecraftupdate.com, filling in the feedback form on the website, or joining our Discord. The links for all of those things are in the description below. It is now time to talk about our week in Minecraft, Slack. Oh, man, I've done so much. How much have you done? How many hours?
Hours? How many hours have I streamed? 6? Yeah.
Oh, so you've done some streams?
6. Yeah, I've been messing around a little bit with Better RTX. I chose the original spot on TB that I originally claimed for my base. And I've just went over there just building trees, just a break from the farms, because if I have to build another farm right now, I'm going to go insane. So I've went over there and I've been playing with Better RTX, but I'm still in that Minecraft burnout. It's helping, but yeah, it's just, I don't know. I'm just not feeling Minecraft right now. And maybe that'll return here soon. You know how it goes. Sometimes you have no desire for it.
Yeah, definitely. I would have been streaming, but it's all my stream time seems to fall in line when I have to take Jack to his exams at the moment, so it's a bit difficult. I think I'm going to do one tomorrow. It's half term at the moment, so he's got no exams, so I should be able to do one tomorrow. I couldn't do one on Monday because we was running about like lunatics. But yeah, I should be able to do one tomorrow, but it's probably going to be a little while before I get back into the swing of things with Minecraft. Because as much as I thought about it today, I was like, oh yeah, tomorrow I'll do my live stream, and then I can actually start recording some Minecraft videos ready for the weekend. And then it suddenly dawned on me how much I've got to do in terms of getting things prepared for 1.20.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't want to leave that till the last minute, which I probably will, but I don't want to.
Oh, you mean you don't think that people are going to be screaming the day that it comes out that we need to update the server and stuff, do you?
Need to update the server. I need to do this. I need to do that. Yeah, right. It's going to happen, isn't it? So I need to get on it with my add-ons and my packs. So that you're going to,
you're going to be busy Wednesday. You got to get TV updated, and you got to get your servers updated, and you might sit down to record Thursday, and then it'll be time for the podcast. Yeah.
And the really good news thing is on Wednesday, Slack, is I'm going to be out of the house for most of the day because it's one of Jack's exams in the afternoon. So yeah, I'll be leaving here around about midday, and I'll be getting back at probably about 4:30 in the afternoon, about half an hour before the update drops. So I'll have all the time in the world to prepare.
Oh, that sounds really good. I'm glad you got so much spare time there. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, it's awesome. I can't wait. Yeah, so there we go. That's it for our week in Minecraft. I'm sorry, guys. I haven't done anything. I could tell you all about what I've done in Zelda, but a lot of people don't want me to spoil it, and I really don't want to spoil it on the podcast. Obviously, I'm doing a series on it, and if people are watching that, then great. But I can't. There's not a lot I can talk about without spoiling it. So, sorry, guys.
Yeah. Sorry. Yeah, that's what it is.
Which takes us into the wish list, and it's been a relatively quiet day of wishes. But before we get to the wish list, I actually want to just say, if anybody here, all 15 of you are listening in the live show, could you please think of some live questions to add to our questions section? Otherwise, I doubt this podcast is going to make it to an hour long. So yes, any questions will do. That's fine. Oh, jeez. Yeah, the wish list then. We got Ubiquitix saying, hey, dudes. This might be an insane idea since I'm currently celebrating St. Patrick's Day early. How can you celebrate? We're having Christmas in March this year.
Christmas in July, yeah.
Fair enough. I mean, fair enough if that's what you're doing. But St. Patrick's Day, if you're celebrating it early, you're just that drunk guy at the pub. You're just that one guy that's drunk at the pub, and that's your excuse. I was celebrating St. Patrick's Day early and listening to this podcast about Minecraft. I don't even know what Minecraft is, but it's really good. Have another drink, please.
No, my friend Foxy does not need another drink. No. Yeah,
no,
he
it
has
doesn't.
no tail.
Jeez. So, yeah. But I would love to have some summoning potions. They would function like spawn eggs, but would have to be brewed with ingredients obtained from the mob you want to summon. For example, if you wanted to spawn a blaze in the overworld, you would have to brew a summoning potion with a blaze rod. Obviously, it would have to be of the splash variety. Using the potion would deduct the same amount of XP that is gained from killing the mob you spawn. Maybe potions are not the way to go, but I would definitely like some means of summoning nether mobs in the overworld. There's some things I like about this, but I think it breaks a lot of things as well. You know, one of the fun things of building a ghast farm in the overworld is going and getting that ghast. If you could just splash potion a ghast into existence by brewing up a ghast here, the kind of
I suddenly love this idea.
it takes a lot of the challenge out of the game. So I think I like the idea that you would be able to summon certain mobs. I don't have a problem with that. And a lot of mob packs get around that by having expensive items you can craft, such as like a net or a catcher or something like that. And you actually have to go and find a mob and catch it, which adds a level of challenge. I think just getting an item that drops from a mob and not have, I mean, maybe if you had like that's the skull of that mob. So let's say you wanted to have a skeleton, right? You would get the skeleton skull from a charged creeper and brew that with some bones or something, and then you could spawn a skeleton in. But I don't know how that would work for things you can't get the heads off. So it would work with piglins, but they're pointless having in the overworld because they zombify. It would work with withers. It would work with wither skeletons, skeletons, zombies, and creepers. But that's about your biscuit, really, isn't it?
Yeah. Sounds like a fun idea. I wouldn't call it a vanilla idea.
Yeah. And because we've changed it so much from what you originally said, I suppose I put it in the fun ideas. Jeez. Yeah, with mods.
Yeah, fun idea.
All right.
Fun idea with mods.
I was feeling lazy, but I'll do it. Like, seems how it's you.
Okay. Thank you. Appreciate that. Right. So next up, we got lemonade. How about colorful signs? You can dye the signs to give it a different color. You'd have to do it in the crafting table, though. Huh?
So they don't mean changing the text of the sign. They mean actually changing the color of the sign.
Use a different wood to make it.
Yeah, I can see this one, though, because there's a lot of circumstances. Obviously, we've got blue signs now because of the warp wood. We've got red signs now, or pink signs because of the crimson wood. And we've got a whole different... we have got really pink signs now because of cherry blossom wood. But we've got basically a bunch of brown signs. It would be nice if there was a metal sign or a grey sign. It would be nice if there were signs that matched concrete colours or basically dye colours. Because, you know, you might want to build something that's really concrete, heavy base, something rainbowy, something cartoony, and then you're stuck with either sticking a warped sign on there or a crimson sign, which still have that wood effect on there. So I can see that being a decent thing to do. I don't know about dyeing the sign because I think that would just be complicated. But being able to make signs out of different blocks, I think would be good.
More signs, I'm with. Yeah, more signs.
Yeah, like an iron sign or an emerald sign or a diamond sign, something like that.
Yep.
Yeah?
Yeah, I could get behind that. Yeah.
More signs. What, good idea or fun idea?
No, it's a good idea for more. Yeah.
Okay, nice. Okay, good. Excellent. Which takes us on to our last piece of wish list, guys, which is from Ori, who says, Hi, Foxy and Slack. What do you think about movable redstone? It's really annoying when I put redstone on pistons and they break when the piston's activated. You must be playing on Java Edition.
Yeah.
And I thought that was fixed on Java Edition. I thought that was something that they got rid of in line with Bedrock Edition. Because on Bedrock Edition, you can put redstone on top of a piston, and when piston fires, the redstone stays there.
Yeah, unless they're talking about putting it on the piston head, but that's a given there.
Yeah, if you've got an already extended piston, but then can you even put redstone dust on top of an already extended piston? On the extended bit? If you can, you shouldn't be able to. So that's a bug. But no, I'm assuming you're talking about just the back end of the piston, which you can on Bedrock. And
the back end. Yeah,
I knew you couldn't on Java, but I thought that had been fixed. So if it hasn't, make a bug report, Ori. Say this is not good, and then they'll take it away from Bedrock Edition instead of giving it to Java.
Oh yeah, like the torches on the back of pistons. Yeah,
yeah, and they will be all in the same boat, so that'd be nice.
Jeez. Except we won't have quasi connectivity. Yeah,
yeah. So again, that's not really a good idea or a bad idea because it's just it's a bug that you're talking about, I suppose. Really, which that's the end of the wish list, guys. So if you've got a wish, there's something you want to be in Minecraft, then let us know by emailing us at news@theminecraftupdate.com, filling out the feedback form on the website, or joining the Discord. Jays. That's it now. We are in questions territory. We have a handful of questions, not so many. And Slack, why don't you start us off in the questions today?
With Tiny Raccoon that says, Hi guys, any info on when everything will change over to the new name? Slow and steady, Tiny. Slow and steady. Look, we got fancy new logo here now. Just step by step, as Foxy said earlier, right?
Yeah. We did mention in the last in the last podcast that we would probably be looking at doing that for when 120 released, which we now know is on June the 7th. So I would imagine at some point over the next couple of weeks, I will be sorting all of that out to forward the domain names to the right places and all that sort of thing. So yeah, we're on our way. Nearly there at Tiny. Okay. Not So Blue Sheep has a few things going on here. Saying, greetings, podcast people. I have a question about loaded chunks. With 120 right around the corner, I'm looking forward to moving into some chunks on my long-term realm that I have, as of yet, been unexplored. My question is this. If I were to make safe nether tunnels that when a portal linked would connect with those far unloaded chunks, would those overworld chunks still generate as 1.20 content? And when I go there for the first time in 2 weeks? Yes and no. Yes, they absolutely should, and yes, they will. However, if those chunks contain some form of structure or chest, then and you've gone near them, they may already be loaded in your world. See, what Minecraft Bedrock does in order to be able to use the locate command properly is it will populate certain chunks that you've never ever been to that contain certain items just so that it can locate them. So it's always a good idea to load up in something like Chunker or another mapping program to see what chunks have been loaded and then use a prune tool in order to get rid of those ones so that you know 100% those ones are not going to have anything in them. And if they are brand new chunks that you're going into, then yes, there will be 1.20 content.
Yep.
Bonus question says, this is from Not So Blue Sheep still, says, chest loot. If I never opened a chest before, do the contents have the potential to be 120, even if I originally loaded the underwater ruin or desert temple but never looted it 2 years ago? Thanks for all you do. Yes, they should. Loot shouldn't generate in a chest until the player opens the chest. That's when it decides what's going to be in it. So yes, it should. However, I don't know if that's based on so each chunk in the game does have what basically chunk version it was or what version of the game it was loaded in. So I can't guarantee that, but it should. Do you know any more about that, Slack?
No, that one's an interesting one. That one, because for a while there, the chests were, what was it, loaded at the beginning of the world load before you ever opened them, and then they changed it. So it will depend on what version you made it to. Because if you made it in the version where chest loot was already predetermined, no.
Well, that's funny you should say that, because going back to Infinity Dungeon, the map I made for the marketplace, I wanted to have chests that would have randomly generated loot. And the only way to do that with the loot table and have it random every time, but be able to respawn the chests in, you had to go into the NBT data of the chunks, which you used to be able to do with, what was that program we always used to use that didn't work anymore? MCC Tool Chest.
MCC Tool Chest, yep.
And you had to basically set the chest seed to 0, give it a specific name or ID or something like that, and then you could use a loot table with it. And every single time you opened it, during development of Infinity Dungeon, that's when they introduced the change you're talking about, where they were like, no, it's all preloaded as soon as you open your world, which ruined everything I'd been working on.
Yeah.
And I was like, how am I going to, I can't do this now. How am I supposed to do this? And then fortunately, it was a while later, but I had a bit of I had some time off during development of that thing through one reason or another. By the time I got back to it a few months later, they had reverted it back to how it should be. And that is that the chest loot would generate when you open the chest. So yeah, because that was a massive problem. That was a real big problem. Because it just ruined chest loot. Jeez. Okay. Right. It's you next, isn't it?
Yeah, Nathan with, hey peeps, I would like to know what your PC specs are. Love the podcast and keep up the great work. Which PC?
Yeah.
Well, right now I'm just on a laptop, but it's nothing fancy. It's just got a 10th gen i5 in it, 32 gigs of RAM. It's got a 3050. It does what it needs to do. My home rig has a 10th gen, what is it, i10? 64 gigs of RAM, 2 terabyte NVMe hard drive. It's still got a 2080 in it, but I love the 2080. My 2080, I got that right before the pandemic hit, so it's got a 2080 Super in it, in which it performs just as well as I need it to on everything. So that's more or less it, aside from my little spare computer, which is just my old backup one that I built as I was coming up in YouTube and everything.
Mine might be a little bit over the top. I have the latest i9-3900K processor. I have 96 gigabytes of RAM now, only because I had some from my old PC, and when I bought new ones, I was like, oh, they match. So I put them all in together. I have many SSD hard drives because I store everything. I don't get rid of anything. I have a 3080 Ti GPU, but the stupid thing is I have all this incredibly powerful stuff, but then I underclock everything. I underclock it. So my CPU can potentially run up to 300 watts. And if it does that, you can't cool it. So I've limited that to 150 watts using the BIOS. And now it doesn't go anywhere near as fast as it can. But I don't need it to, but it's there for the future, right? In the future, I'll be able to clock that up a bit more if I need it to and get a better power solution when they're cooling solution when they're available in the future. And my GPU, if you look at a Founders Edition card and then you look at one that you buy from a manufacturer, so I got an EVGA one, the specs on the EVGA one will be a lot higher. They're all overclocked because they've got, like the Founders Editions one, don't have very good cooling on. The Founders Edition are basically direct from NVIDIA. So I underclock my GPU, even though I don't need to match the Founders Edition because I know that's what the chip's designed to run at as standard. And I don't have any proof on this, but I just feel like it will be more stable. And it has been. I don't have any, touch wood, I have everything else go wrong. But generally speaking, I don't have any GPU issues. And by running that at 90% power limit, it is just as powerful. I get exactly the same frames per second, but instead of using 500 watts while it's running, it uses 250. Don't ask me why. I can render videos just as fast. I can play games just as fast, but it uses nowhere near the power and it never goes above 50 degrees. Whereas I put it on full power, allow it to have all of it. It will run at 100%. It will go shoot up to 70, 80 degrees, make loads and loads of noise and doesn't go any faster. Explain that one.
Can't.
So yeah, there you go. There's our specs, mate. It's me next, isn't it?
Yes, it's you next with Lemonade.
Lemonade. Would you rather? Oh, there's 5 here. All right, Slack, you ready for some would you rather?
Yep.
1. Try out a new game or stick with every game you've played.
That's a hard one.
So,
are you saying I can't play the games I've already played again?
Yeah, I think what they're saying is you're not allowed to play any of the games you've ever played anymore, but you can play this new game, which to me, that's a no-brainer. I'll just stick with the games I've already played.
Yeah, I'd stick with the games I've already played. Yeah.
If that was different, it was like, okay, you can only play games in the future from now on that have been released from now, but you can't play anything that was released before now. That would be different because I'd be thinking, oh, well, there'll be some really good games in the future. I'd have to destroy my career by never playing Minecraft again. But there could be some really good games. So that would be a hard choice because I like playing games. But the way it is, it's like, do you want to try a new game but never ever play any other games? No, I stick with my old games. Thanks, mate.
Yeah. I'll stick with the other ones. Yep.
2. Get the silence armor template or have 28 diamonds to get full armor templates, but you can't get the silence template. So basically, you can have any other armor template you want, but not the silence one, or just the silence one.
I'm not hyped over armor templates, so it doesn't matter to me.
I want the silence one. I know this. I don't care. I really don't care, but I do for some reason. I think it's one of those. Why have it? It's like I get all the time because I use a texture pack to make netherite not look like netherite. Why aren't you using netherite? Why? And it's going to be, why haven't you got the silence trim? It's going to be, I can't believe you're wearing redstone with diamond. Why don't you use this one that someone else uses and I like them more than you? So I think it's going to, I want the silence one to shut people up.
No, I don't think that'll work because somebody will come in and be like, oh, you could do this, this, and this, and you could look like this.
I can't believe you used emerald on it. It looks awful. Oh, shut up.
Yeah.
3. Be able to ride the sniffer or remove the green bit on the cherry blossom leaves. Remove the green bit.
Green bit.
Yeah.
Remove the green bit. Yep.
4.
Yep. Not it.
Be able to obtain suspicious sand and gravel or remove the thing where you can't fit big mobs into boats. Oh.
Remove the mobs and boats.
Yeah, I think I'd go with that one, but I still would really like to be able to obtain suspicious sand and gravel as blocks.
Yeah,
okay, that's a good one. That's a really good one. And number 5, get the trapdoor swim thing from Java or be able to get Elytra templates. We already got it. It's coming. Not next week with the big update. It's a bit after, but we got it. Got it, guys. At last.
So in that case, we can just say... Yeah, well, no, we can just take the free Elytra template then.
Yeah, that's mine. Thank you. Okay, next question. Just to remind you peeps in the live show, we have 2 questions left. We are an hour and 10 minutes into this podcast. If you would like it extending, I strongly recommend you throw some questions into the live questions channel.
God, look, it's Stitch Fix up next.
Oh, man.
And we didn't even get a Foxy, how's your day? Or even a Slack,
she's really mad at me for going at her about about voting for the add-ons. I thought it was a good idea, Stitch Fix. I liked the idea. I just didn't know. It didn't seem like it was an issue the way I was going to do it. That's all I was saying. I will happily put it to a vote which ones we do first. Jeez.
Hmm.
Man.
Man, that sounds like a TB meeting. Fine, I'll put it to a vote.
Why can't I just add sharks in the game? Why I gotta get permission? Stupid TB.
Right. So in your opinion, Skulk has no other use besides XP gathering. What about wireless redstone everyone raved about?
We'll get to that in a second. Stitch Fix is also just written in the chat. Every time you say my name, you now say, "Oh man." Stitch Fix, take that as a big compliment. You know, you're in a small group of people that we now recognise to the point where we're comfortable in bullying.
Yeah.
Jade.
Yeah, show up at stream.
And you.
Yeah. Look, this has been a great one. We didn't have nothing from Jade. This is great.
Yeah, it's good. Yeah.
Uh-huh.
So no, keep them coming, Stitch Fix. I genuinely do enjoy them. You should feel that you've got there. You've achieved greatness in being recognised on the podcast. Okay, so shut up.
No silly questions or complaints from Jade this week. No, it's been great. It's been great. I love it.
Lovely. Yeah. Stitch Fix says, so in your opinion, Skulk, so what about wireless redstone everyone raved about? Well, when you referred to Skulk, I thought you were just referring to the Skulk block. So yes, Skulk sensors, potentially they've got a massive amount of uses, and in 1.20 that's going to be even more now that we've got the calibrated Skulk sensors. I think that's going to I think they've come around probably because Mojang realised, while there is a lot of potential with a Skulk sensor on its own, they're too busy picking up frequencies you don't want being picked up, and therefore people weren't using them. Like, oh, I want to make a secret door into my base using a Skulk sensor, but every time someone opens this chest, the door opens. Or every time a bird flies by, this door opens. They don't have birds in my... Oh, shut up, you know what I mean. Right? So, potentially, they were great, but realistically, they weren't. And no one can really make use of wireless redstone, particularly on Bedrock Edition, because the simulation distance isn't good enough. So you might as well just run redstone wires because they're a lot more reliable. Whereas when the calibrated Skulk sensors here next week, guys, then you'll actually be able to tune your door into the right frequency, which means that it will open when you want it to open based on the vibration you want it to listen to. So that, I think you'll see more stuff on them then. I think that's probably... And these things take time as well. I'm sure if you look at... There'll be a million tutorials on how I've done this with this Skulk sensor and how I've done that with that one, but it's probably just not tuned into what you're doing at this moment in time or what you're looking for, which is probably why you've not really seen it. Yeah.
Yeah, I have nothing else to add to that. Yeah, you pretty much nailed that.
Okay.
Oh.
So it's you next, isn't it? Yeah. No.
Irish Viking says, what is one of the first quality of life uses you can think of while using the calibrated Skulk sensors? I don't know. It's not here yet.
That's one of those things where you start thinking about those things when you need them, don't you? I'm genuinely just looking forward to being able to operate the doors around my base by walking near them rather than having to rely on pressing buttons or, flicking a switch or going over a pressure plate or getting an observer to look at a piece of string that I touch. So that would be nice. I think it might work, it might not, but it would be nice if you could get them to work in things like a witch farm, to open the trapdoor rather than relying on the witch, suddenly appearing in exactly the right point. Because I often wonder, does that bit of string that we're using to detect the witch, or does that block that we're using to push it actually cause any delay? Well, we'll know for sure because we'll be able to activate things based on that. So there's a bunch of cases where I think that could be useful. But until
it would only run when it has a mob in it.
Yeah, that'd be nice. Oh, that'd be really nice. But can you just detect a mob existing? I guess you could probably detect the mob's footsteps.
Yeah, exactly. You could detect the mob falling. So, like, if you fly away and unload it, when you come back in, a mob will fall into it. The thing will detect it and
start running. Yeah, you'd need it. You'd need a new clock, though, wouldn't you? That would run a few times to make sure it actually died. Although I guess not. If you had it based on a mob walking and it just did a full cycle of the trident killer every time the mob walked, Yeah, because if there's plenty of him there, it's just going to keep going. And if there isn't, that one walking around occasionally is going to end up dead. So yeah, that's not a bad idea. That could be quite interesting, actually. More efficient Slack.
Yeah, also things like auto sorters have a tendency to break, especially multi-item sorters when a player is not in the area, and then when you reload it, you have to go in and manually start the system again. It can be useful where, like, as soon as you walk into your base, it hits it detects you, it hears you come in or whatever, and then it auto, reprimes the system and gets it running again.
Yeah. Yeah, there'll be loads of really useful things like that, just for the player presence in an area. Like, can you imagine walking into your industrial area and then all the lights come on? And all of the farms suddenly turn on, and your furnaces engage, and your piston. Oh, that'd be amazing. I'd love to. Yeah, like when you're walking down a hallway and they've got those sensors and the lights come on as you're walking down. Yep. You can do that. You'll be there's loads of cool stuff you'll be able to do like that, and loads of stuff that doesn't involve the player walking as well, like flying through. Because you can detect flying, can't you? So you'll be able to have like a Litra course that, like, you'll be able to fly past a hoop, and it will actually set off a rocket and a light will go on.
Yep.
Yeah. Clap on for Minecraft, says Jay.
Minecraft, in a sense, yeah.
Yeah, basically. Okay. Stitch Fix is back, Slack.
Okay.
I really want to see all these potential uses for the skull clocks everyone was going on about. What kind of farms can you imagine with these sensors, etc.? I think we just pretty much covered that one to death.
I think we just covered that. Gee, Sticks, it's like they were listening to us and just immediately took what we were saying, right?
Right, geez. Stitch Fix. Okay, I'll read the next one then. This is from Irish Viking. Do you feel after the novelty of camels run out, they will become just as obsolete as horses have become? Oh, I think they're already as obsolete as horses. No. I think everyone will go and get one, realise how slow and useless they are, and immediately get off and walk home or fly home. Yeah.
Yeah, the next season of whatever, Foxy will be like, oh, let's do horses and camels, and then he'll DM me about 30 minutes later and be like, hey, you want to go end raiding? Yeah.
Yeah. There's no advantage to a camel. They're slower than horses. They can't have chests on. They can dash, but it's kind of useless. And they can walk up a 1.5 block gap.
Yeah.
I have no interest in a camel. Yeah. I'll go and get one because it's something to do, but I don't need one. It's like I don't have I have got dogs this season now because they just happened upon them, but I don't normally keep pets in Minecraft because they just end up sitting there making noises and chewing up the mob cap. But Lucy next, Slack.
Do you have any tips for picking a good seed for 1.20? Let Foxy do it. Yeah.
Picking a seed for 120. I'm rubbish at picking seeds. My OCD gets in the way, so I go on a seed finding website like Chunkbase. I like to use a Midst, but they haven't updated it forever. And I would just go through one seed at a time, and I'll go one at a time, starting from 0, and until I would be constantly looking for a good mix of biomes, and I would be looking for things without too much ocean, but plenty of ocean, because you want guardian farms and things like that. And I think the key thing to look for is that biome diversity within 2,000 or 3,000 blocks. Otherwise, you're going a long way to find anything worth having. If you want a seed that's got everything, the only way to find them is Google it. There's loads of websites and YouTube videos that are like, oh, this seed's got all of these things that spawn, or these have got all these things within this many blocks. But then you just play on the same seeds as everyone else. So the other thing I would say is, I think Minecraft's genuinely more enjoyable if you don't know where the seeds are. When you play Minecraft without ever loading up a seed viewer and finder, I've had so much more fun. Just that for this is right. Okay, it sounds a little bit backwards because I've been moaning about exploration in Minecraft, and the reason I moan about it is because the way it works when you play on an SMP or with other people is you all know what the world looks like. You had to pick the seed. You know where the biomes are. You know where you've got to go. Someone's already dug a nether tunnel, so it just becomes a boring walk. Whereas if you start a world up and never know where anything is, you have no idea what direction to go in. And if you don't have a Litra, all of a sudden you are actually going on a journey. And I can remember back to my first Java world thinking I need a jungle. I didn't know at that point seed finders existed, and I had to just go and find a jungle. And I spent a long time looking for a jungle, but I ended up coming back with all this cool stuff. So,
Yeah.
But those were the days before I made farms to produce everything, and before I had tons of stuff, and before we had a liter in the end. So it was different back then, but I think the same still applies. A world that is genuinely unknown to you will be a much more fun world to explore, in my opinion. Thoughts, Slack?
No, I would agree. Going in blind is actually great, but when was the last time you went in blind on a seed?
Yeah.
It's been a long, long time.
It's one of the reasons we choose not to give the seed out on TB too early, is because we don't want everyone telling us where all the stuff is. But then a lot of the players will just they'll just put all of the screenshots of the maps into the channels, and you're like, I've seen it now.
I can't unsee it. Yeah.
Which is fine, because they want to know where stuff is. They want to plan out where they're going to have bases, and you've got to do that sort of stuff. But I always think, the next season I'm not going to look. But you have to, especially when you're the admin for the server. So it's frustrating. Jeez. Okay. Jen Fire is here, Slack, saying, working on the premise that redstone is essentially electronics in Minecraft, and you were talking about pipe/engineering mods earlier, would you rather have plumbing/aqueducts or mechanical engineering as an added feature that users could see having them? I'm not bothered about plumbing. It would be... No, I don't really... Unless they were going to sort of add taps and baths and working showers into Minecraft, but then I think that's too fiddly and complicated. No, I would like pistons that spin round horizontally. I'd like things to be able to turn. I'd like to be able to put something on a piston, or a sticky block on a piston, and put some blocks on it and have it turn 90 degrees, and things like... I just think there's more you could do that doesn't take from the game, that would be more mechanical in nature, that you could have fun with and make more interesting things than currently exists. So without going fully create mod with conveyor belts and all that sort of thing, and wheels.
Yeah. I would like a programmable piston that could be like, this is your path. You go up here, you do this, you do this, you do that. You come back down, and you go back to your start point without it actually being crazy.
Yeah, without needing 4 million observers and repeaters and everything just to make one piston touch another one and then go back to where it was.
Yeah. I want you to go up 3 blocks, go to the right, check that block. If everything's good, go over, check that block, come back to the start.
Yeah. So programming. So a programmable block, not necessarily a piston, but like a block that you could program to... Do you remember, did you ever see those things? I think my brother got one for one of his kids, or my brother even got one year for Christmas. I'm going back a while. It's like a remote control car, but instead of having a remote, you had a keypad on the back, and you basically typed in a bunch of instructions. Like, you go forward a block, then you go left, and then you go up, and then and it would just follow that route. It was rubbish, but something in Minecraft that did that, a little robot or something that you could, when you get here, activate this button, and when you get there, flick that lever. That would be really interesting. I'd like that. Yeah.
That'd be nice. So I guess I would like more of the mechanical side than the plumbing aqueduct side. Yep.
Yeah, I agree. Okay.
Stitch Fix is up next. I already got this one. You ready, Foxy?
Yeah.
Can you think of anything that would be better than an elytra?
Yes.
A jetpack?
Yeah, so exactly what I was thinking. Elytras are great until you need to build vertically. There's nothing good for building vertically. And don't start with scaffolding, because scaffolding, it never goes where you need it to go. And the only bit you need to crouch click on is the bit that you go back down on, right? It would be amazing if you could fly and hover, even if it was just for a short amount of time and then you had to land. But yeah, jetpack would be amazing. If you could, let's say, if you could have a jetpack, and it's even still used vanilla rockets, but let's say you had to pack 16 rockets into the jetpack, and that would give it a duration of, 30 seconds or a minute of flight, and then you run out of rockets. Or maybe each rocket lasts a second. So if you put a stack of rockets in there, you've got 64 seconds. I'd be happy with that.
or if it gave you the inertia that was given from that rocket. So like a flight 1 duration rocket gives you, let's say, 5 seconds of inertia. Okay.
Yeah.
And let's say a flight 3 gives you 15. Okay, so I can put more powerful rockets in there to make my jetpack last longer. It would actually give you a use for making higher tiered rockets as well.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, and I think that would, if it just had like one inventory slot, just that you put your rockets in, so you are limited, I think that would be a good compromise. That would be great.
Yep.
Yeah.
I think that would be nice, yeah.
Jetpacks, please.
Yes. Yeah. Can we, I know this is questions, but can we just make that a good idea?
It's in the wrong section, Slack. I'll see what I can. Okay, jetpacks. Good idea. There you go. I'll see if I remember to put that in. It's in the wrong section, so I might not look for it when I'm editing, but we'll see. Irish Vikings back again saying maybe you could all come with some sort of mini games that would use 2-player riding ability with camels. Yeah, you could do. You could have maybe like a race course with. You could do that single player though. I was going to say like a race course. Yeah, a race that had targets around. Okay, so you're obviously at the one at the front steering the camel. You don't really have time to get your bow out and start shooting the things because you're also in a race against your mates that are also on camels, and then the person at the back shooting the targets. That could be good.
Until you shoot the person who's driving the camel in the back of the head. Yeah.
Well, yeah, risks and stuff, it makes for a fun game. Yeah, that could be an interesting one. Okay, the last question then is back with Stitch Fix, who says, oh yeah, when will you be adding a bleeping sticker to your US website? I see what you mean. You're bleeping out your swear words because you've been asking me for stickers for ages. I need to go through all that. I got some ideas for merch and stuff. I need to go through everything on my whole merch thing and get that all sorted out. So it's coming, but it's on a long old list of to do. It's quite far down the list. So watch this space.
I got a random question for you before we get there, because that was our last question, Foxy.
Okay.
If somebody new was going to start making and recording videos for Minecraft, because I know you've been asked this before, what is the first investment that you would actually recommend them to do?
Well, for making
Say everything
videos.
They got, yeah, for making videos. Say everything they got's mediocre. There's nothing expensive, but they can drop their money on one thing.
Is there a PC already capable of playing and recording Minecraft?
It will do the job.
Okay.
But it's nothing fancy.
I would say probably a microphone.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking too.
See,
if you could go back again and you had just a potato PC to start, what's the first investment you would make now?
Microphone.
Yeah.
See, as long as your recording's watchable, it doesn't have to be in 1080p. It could be in 720. No. I think people will watch 720 that's a little bit blocky and still be absolutely fine with it, as long as it doesn't look horrendous. It doesn't need to be in 60 frames. People watch 30 frames footage without a problem.
Yep.
I think what makes watching videos hard is if there's no talking in it at all, it's very difficult to sit through and watch. It's the sort of thing you just put in the background and not really pay attention to. So you kind of think, well, what's the point in having it then? So you need to talk. And if the person talking sounds awful, like they've got a really horrible microphone or they're using a headset, like not yours, but, like this microphone and it's scratching and it's hitting the chin and like on the T-shirt and they're fiddling with it while they're recording, then that's really hard to listen to. I think you don't even need a good microphone. You just need one that's not going to pick up pick up loads of horrible fan noise and things like that. You just want a microphone that's close to your face. And I don't take the offense to this, Slack, because yours never sounded that bad. Yours wasn't awful. No. The biggest complaint was from you for your audio before, because you were embarrassed about it, but it didn't really bother that other people because you get used to it. Like Izuma. Izuma's videos have, for years, he'd used the same headset and it was always very high pitched. There was a little bit of rattle to it. There was no low end to it, but he even said, I bought tons of these headsets because they're the only ones I like. And everyone watched that. That was fine. You don't need to have a high quality one that gives all of the oomph and your bass and everything like that and get your levels right. It just needs to not be like heavy breathing, scratching, keyboard typing, clicking, the sort of thing you get from one of these.
Yep.
So I would go for a microphone. And so...
Just curious because...
Go on.
No, I was just curious because that's where I was thinking too. If I could have gone back and invested in something first, I would have invested in a microphone a lot sooner than I did.
I mean, I still can't get over how good your headset sounds that you're wearing now. It's driving me mad, actually. I've been thinking about it a lot. Because I bought a few years ago when I first wanted to start doing recording, but I didn't. I wanted to do it away from my desk. I bought a Sennheiser headset, my headphones, and it was ridiculously expensive. And the microphone on it sounded like airport control through a really bad walkie-talkie. Yeah. It was awful. And I've Googled for years headsets with good microphones, and all the reviews that come up, it's the same old thing: Turtle Beach this, Turtle Beach that, and they don't sound good. Yeah. They sound awful. And when you started doing this, and I saw you were actually using, I thought you just had the microphone thing down. I didn't think you were actually recording to it. It sounds
I'm recording it to it.
Doesn't sound any different from your mic at home. It's great.
No. Yeah.
So
it's hilarious because I know at least 8 or 9 people inside my community have now got this exact same headset.
I want it. You need to send me a link for what it is, because I would. Right. Yeah,
it's great. It's really great. I absolutely love it.
I got the Razer headset, then I got the Razer Kraken headset. I got another one. I tried like 4 different ones that were all voted like really good headset microphones, and they all just sound like you're a million miles away, scratchy. Oh, it's awful. So yeah, man.
Yeah, I kind of felt disappointed the first time I turned it on and I recorded a clip, and I expected it to be awful. I did. I expected it to be awful, and then when I listened to it and it was comparable to my Shure, there's differences. You can hear it, I can hear it, but for what it is and how it performs, it's just like, yeah. Can't beat it. Can't beat it at all.
I got one more question for you before we go, Slack.
Okay.
I was thinking about this the other day, and it made me think. Right. When you go in the car for a long time, like if you're going to be in the car all day, you're traveling somewhere far, you need to use the toilet sometimes, right? Because you drink when you're in the car. You've got to keep your hydration levels up. If you're going for a 4 or 5 hour drive, you're going to have to drink. So you're going to have to pull over. You're going to have to find somewhere that's got a toilet, right? But generally speaking, when you're doing that sort of journey, you're probably on the motorway. You're probably on the interstate in the USA. You're probably, there'll be service stations that have got toilets and you can go to. It's probably not too bad, right?
Right.
But if you're a taxi driver that's just driving around town, going from one destination to another, and you're in the car all day, where do you go to the toilet? Because local petrol stations don't have toilets in. Do you drop someone off and go, can I come in and use your toilet?
Okay, so I spent 5 years working at a truck wash. Okay.
Right.
And you deal with people who are literally over the road truck drivers 24/7. The number of times I've seen guys pull up out back, hold out a milk jug and dump it.
Yeah.
Should answer that question.
I mean, you wouldn't do that in a taxi, though.
Why would you? If you have no fare, you pull into a private street.
I don't believe it. Mr. Balrog says here the petrol stations do have even local ones in the city. They don't hear.
Yeah, see, in the US they do. Yeah.
Yeah, quite often I'll need to go to the toilet, and I'm going like to pick Jack up because Jack lives like an hour away, and that's where his college is, and I've got to take. So this is why I started thinking of this. I take him to his exam. I have to wait in the car for 2 hours, and I pick him up again, and I'll get there, and I'm already needing the loo, and I'm like, I can't go anywhere. Where can I go to the toilet? So I sit there and I hold it.
That's a big difference. That's a big difference in the US and over here. I've noticed that. The US, almost every place has a public bathroom. Over here, public bathrooms are few and far between.
there are some services, like on the motorway, obviously there is, and there are some petrol stations that are local that do, but they're normally locked and you have to ask and get a key and they're scabby and not very nice. But most of the ones near me and where Jack lives, there's none. And I sit there like I am right now, absolutely busting, thinking, I can't, last week I was sat in the car and there was a lady, like I was parked outside somebody's house because that's the only place you can park. And there's the lady that lived there was outside in the garden, like trimming the hedges. And I was so desperate to just, do you mind if I use your toilet? I obviously didn't. But I was like, what do taxi drivers do? They're there all day. How do they do it? Local Macadee says Squirrelicious. Yes, that's where I ended up going. Yes, exactly where I ended up going. I ended up going to McDonald's. But then I felt guilty. I had to buy a coffee, which made me then need it again. Jeez. Speaking of needing it, it is unfortunately the end of the podcast. As usual, I'd like to remind you all that we are supported by Patreon. And if you've enjoyed this show and our silly talks about silly things, then please do help support us by going to patreon.com/the Minecraft Update. This week, Slack is going to be streaming, maybe?
Try to daily. But
Good.
I have no clue.
I'm going to try and start streaming. I still have my Jedi Survivor videos have all finished now. They're done. But I am 2 videos a day on Zelda every single day. They're going to be going on probably throughout July until that's all finished. And obviously, I'm going to try very hard this week to get back into Minecraft, which takes us, sadly, to the end of the show, where I say the same thing that I say at the end of every single podcast. And that is, if you're a taxi driver that works around here and you don't have a toilet, then just get a big jug of milk and pour it outside on the neighbour's grass. Problem
I've
solved.
seen it too many times. I'm just saying. Too many times. Yep. And not just one. I've seen them dump multiples.
They've been a really long way. Jeez, sorry. Just got this crate of milk jugs. Hang on a minute, guys. I missed one of them. Can I borrow a mop?
I wouldn't say it's the interesting thing, but the one that always baffled me the most was, why don't you just get a new jug?
Just get a new jug. No, that's my jug. This is Phil's jug and this is my jug. We have our own jugs. It's got names on them. Right, on that note, I'm off. I'll see you later, peeps.